Hey guys. So strange occurrence. I don't really know what happened last week. I was working on my own project and then all of a sudden that Halloween episode got posted and I'm confused. But yesterday I found a flash drive outside of my closet with a note taped to it, and I think it was from the Goblin.
I thought you lost the Goblin.
No, I thought I did too, but I mean, I was at yours on Halloween, and that's when the episode went up. So I guess he snuck back in. I don't know where he got the audio, but regardless, the flash drive had another chunk of that audio. I assume the ending of what the last part was. I mean, like, I think he's in there. I haven't wanted to check, but the note said that he was staying, that our outside world is too backwards and horrifying for him. Can't say I blame him.
Yeah, I guess he was kind of out during election day stuff, so it can feel like it's a crazy world when you're in America during that, and I fully understand. So we
Yeah.
wish you the best, editing Goblin, and maybe we'll see you next Halloween. I don't know.
Who knows? Well, regardless, we all have been having a rough and stressful time this week, no matter who you are, I'm sure. But you know, I feel that it would be defeatist to just not put something up, and I have this bit of stuff here. It's kind of weird. It's funny. The audio from the second half of whatever this two-parter was is mostly just ghost lore. So heads up, and also trigger warning because some of it is kind of rough.
As a person who had to verbally say most of the really, really rough lore, trigger warning for sure on like pretty much every subject. Like I can't go through a list off the top of my brain with everything we talked about.
Mostly just violence and sexual violence. You know, it's
Yeah,
Halloween
it's
horror
mostly stuff, but
stuff.
like pretty much everything in those categories. So
But
just a heads up.
yeah, that's what we got for you this time, I guess. I just wanted to give you a little heads up before we jumped into the rest of it, because it's a wild ride as we
sure.
Lightning round our way through the rest of the plot of 13 Ghosts. I hope you enjoy, because I sure didn't.
I am so
Throughout.
fucking lost.
No, it's fine. They're playing some Lantern Chant. So they all go to the basement and they decide, alright, Scraggy and Maggie are gonna go together, and then Kathy and her dad Arthur are gonna go together, and they're gonna split up, because that's always a great idea, right?
Yeah.
No, and Scraggy should have known that, because, I mean, he was gonna play Shaggy in a couple years, so he should have known.
Like Zoinks, dude.
Like Zoinks,
Like
dude.
Zoinks, dude.
Which can
Can I get a Zoinks in the chat, please?
Zoinks!
Zoinks!
So they split up, and Kathy gets attacked by this thing called the Jackal. When Scraggy realizes the Jackal is out of its cage, he calls it, and I quote, the Charles Manson of Ghosts. So that brings us to ghost number 4, Charles Manson of Ghosts, the Jackal!
Jackal!
Is it Jackal?
It's a jackal. It feels weird to say it like that when it's called the Charles Manson of Ghosts.
Yeah. Born to a prostitute at some point in the year 1887, Ryan Kuhn began to develop a sick, insatiable, uncontrollable taste for women. As a result, he became a wild and cunning sexual predator, attacking, raping, and murdering strays and prostitutes in the dead of night like a wild animal. Seeking treatment, Ryan committed himself to Borenwood Asylum, where he eventually went insane. He scratched at his cell's walls so violently that his fingernails were torn completely off, making his hands claws. When Ryan attacked a nurse, the doctors put him in a straitjacket and tightened it whenever he acted out, contorting his limbs horribly. However, Ryan has gnawed through it, so the doctors locked Ryan's head in a cage-type helmet and locked him in a dark basement cell where he grew to hate any human contact and would cower and scream madly when approached. When a fire broke out at the asylum, everyone else escaped, but Ryan chose to stay behind and meet his deserved fate, and died in the fire.
Wow.
I feel like that's the only tone to read that one in because it's really depressing.
Thanks, Aubrey. Now, anyway, back to the news. Okay, hey, lightning round, Aubrey, lightning round. We got a few more ghosts to get through, don't we? Okay.
All right. Eventually, after the jackal has attacked Kathy, Arthur runs into Kalina, and Kalina helps them fight her off. Kalina is Miss Honey from Matilda, if you've ever seen that. And Kalina's one of them ghost PETA people. The one we saw in the first scene, even. Whoa! Why is she here? That's weird.
Oh, is she alive?
She helps fight off. Yeah, I don't know. She helps fight off the jackal with a flare. And they end up going back to the library, as it is protected and never shifts. Which is where the lawyer was having him sign the thing. So we go back there. Dennis falls behind, though, and is faced with the hammer, which... We got the hammer! George McCarley! He was an honest, hardworking blacksmith until a man named Nathan wrongfully accused George of theft and threatened to banish him from the town they live in. Knowing he was innocent, George stood up to Nathan and refused to move, causing Nathan and his gang to one day beat George's wife and children to death, which is fucked up. Enraged, George tracked down Nathan and his friends and brutally beat him to death with a sledgehammer. The town discovered what George had done, and they dragged him back to his shop where they tied him to a tree and drove railroad spikes into his body with his own sledgehammer, slowly killing him. As a finishing touch, they cut off George's hand and fixed George's sledgehammer in its place.
Because they just were really that fucked.
Yeah, kind of fucked up.
Kinda.
But as Scraggy makes eye contact with the hammer, he sees a That's So Raven style vision of his death in which the jackal and the hammer double team him and kill him. And he's like, I don't like that. And he sees it after he flipped him off, so he's like, oh fuck, did I fuck up? But they all get up to the library and they start talking about what the hell's going on with all these ghosts, and Maggie walks him through what all of the ghosts are, and we have done a good portion of them. We've got wait, because I've got them in order here. We've got the Firstborn Son, which is basically a child ghost in a little adorable Native American outfit, and he was shot in the head by a friend. His
with
friend
an
was
arrow.
A steel-tip bow. Yeah.
With an arrow.
Was this
Sad
friend like
child
a grown man?
No, his friend was a kid. It was a kid.
Okay.
Second is the torso. Third, bound woman. Fourth is the withered lover. And the withered lover is Jean Criticos, Arthur's wife.
Dun,
And
dun,
we know how
dun.
he died in a fire.
Yeah, which is why the whole family was so depressed at the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
But
and
now
what
she's here.
Ghost mom.
Which means Arthur's uncle took his wife's ghost. And that's kind of fucked up. But we'll move on.
I kind of read into it as he...
Oh, I didn't think he caused it.
Well, here...
I think it was coincidental, and then Arthur realized some other things, but we'll get to that, because I don't want to use evidence from the end. So, fifth is the Torn Prince. The Torn Prince is Royce Clayton. Royce Clayton was an All-American football star and was challenged to a drag race in the 1950s by another fellow bad boy, and little did he know that bad boy cut his tire brakes, and his body was like half destroyed by road burn, and he died.
Can I just mention my one of my favorites?
Yes.
It's our little baby boy.
Oh, wait. Wait. John, I'll let you do him. He's after the Pilgrimess. So, 7, Angry Princess. We already did her. 8, The Pilgrimess. The Pilgrimess is Isabella Smith, and Isabella Smith is honestly a classic Salem witch trial story, so I really don't feel like I need to give much there. And then 9 and 10 are the Great Child and the Dire Mother. You want to take that?
Yes, John, if
Yeah,
you would
yeah,
like
yeah,
to describe
I'm looking
the
at the child.
horrible visage that is.
It'll basically tell you the Dire Mother's story as well. The Great Child and the Dire Mother are super intertwined.
Harold Shelburne, also known as the Great Child. The Great Child is the 8th ghost featured in the Black Zodiac.
And the Dire Mother is number 9.
Born to Margaret Shelburne as a result of rape by a circus freak, Harold was raised in the carnival as an attraction and his mother's protector. Because Margaret never stopped spoiling him, he not only weighed 136 kilograms by his later years, but somehow retained his childlike mindset his entire life to the point that he never grew out of diapers. Because of this, Harold and Margaret were taunted and teased at every turn. One day, some circus workers kidnapped Margaret as a cruel joke on Harold. In a rage-fueled search for his mother, Harold ransacked most of the carnival. But when he found her, she had already suffocated in the bag the workers had kept her in. Enraged, Harold killed the circus workers responsible for Margaret's manslaughter with an axe, as well as a lot of the other freaks.
I would also like to note that Margaret was a dwarf. She was super tiny and her son was super big. He would have probably been about 300 to 350 pounds. But yeah, so it really wouldn't have been that hard to kill her. Kind of a American Horror Story freak show situation there.
Yes,
Sad.
definitely.
Very sad. They're honestly those two are kind of the ones that really I feel for. I feel for them.
Yeah.
Ghost number 10 is the Hammer. 11 is the Jackal. And 12 is the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut was the ghost we saw in the first scene, and his name is Horace Mahoney.
I think
Horace Mahoney worked in the junkyard and killed 8 people during his life and then tripled that in death. And that's really all you need to say about that. Which we did kind of say, but I won't.
The scary dangerous one. The most scary dangerous one.
Alright. Ghost Peta Miss Honey, Kalina, has explained that this is not a house, but it is a complex machine that Cyrus built, designed by a possessed 15th century astronomer to open the Oculus Infernum, aka Eye of Hell. It is a machine, quote, created by the devil and powered by the dead. And once this demonic device opens the eye would allow the user to see everything in the past, future, heaven and earth, the blessed and the damned. End quote.
So, was it to, see your future? Cause that just sounds like a lot of effort for a really, really bad thing.
You can see the past. You can see the past and the future, heaven and earth, the blessed and the damned. Like, it gives you basically unlimited power. Is the point?
You become a seer. You become like a seer, someone who can see the future. You become that so Raven. You become Raven.
Bam, 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 bam.
But basically,
wait, we gotta speed through some more of this.
No. Basically, it's omniscience.
Yeah. Okay. After all this, Arthur has realized his wife is a 4th ghost, and he's, disturbed and horrified that that's there. And then Kalina says, hey, guess what? The 13th ghost? 'cause this movie's called 13 fucking ghosts.
What? Gasp.
It's supposed to be you, bud. And Arthur says, excuse me? And she says, yeah, you're gonna be ghost number 13, the Broken Heart. The Broken Heart is supposed to be someone who makes an immense sacrifice out of deep heartbreak and deep love, basically. And that is essentially why Cyrus gifted his nephew this house. Because he wanted him to sacrifice his soul for the machine.
So then, speaking of Osiris, is this the moment when it happens?
Oh, wait.
Because I hardly have anything else written down in my notes. I think this is...
Babysitter's name?
So she says, like, hey, your kids are in danger because they don't have Kathy or Bobby at this point. So you got to be the 13th ghost to, like, make sure your kids don't get hurt. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do it.
At this point, Matthew Lillard and Tony Shalhoub leave the library.
Yeah. Arthur and Dennis are going down back down to the basement to look for the kids, and they are using a glass panel of one of the walls as a shield.
Yeah, it's pretty ingenious. But also, one thing that I thought about, doesn't that completely nullify the protection on the library?
No. No, the protection of the library is the only room that doesn't change, like, with the mechanisms. Like, It won't ever be shut off or opened. It's always as it is.
But they took a panel from the...
Yeah, but that's fine.
And that leaves Miss Peta, Maggie Beth... No.
Ghost Peta, yeah. Miss Honey.
It leaves Ghost Peta, Miss Honey, and...
Maggie.
It leaves them alone in there. And that's when, all of a sudden, you see Cyrus come in out of nowhere. And Maggie screams because she's wearing the ghost...
glasses,
yeah. And she decides to scream. And then Ghost Peta, Miss Honey, decides to make the heel turn of the fucking century. Knock the bitch Maggie out. Just knocks her out cold. And proceeds to fucking just deep throat Cyrus with her tongue. And something that, quite frankly, I didn't see coming.
Yeah, it turns out she's been Cyrus's secret partner and lover.
Also, Cyrus is still alive.
And while this is going... Yeah, Cyrus is still alive.
And he's got the whole throat slit thing and everything.
That isn't... Yeah, he still has it, so, like, I guess he's just really still into wearing his death costume in case anybody sees him, so they'll think he's dead. And, like, I get it. That's a good cover. Meanwhile, Arthur and Dennis come across the Torn Prince and the Hammer, and ends up getting locked in a room with the Torn Prince. The Torn Prince manages to barely miss Dennis every time due to Arthur telling him when to duck, and then eventually he gets out of that room, and then he faces the Hammer and the Juggernaut at the same time and faces his death like he saw earlier. Like, exactly like it. And it's so depressing to watch him die because he's so hot. And so helpful because he's the only person that can, connect with the ghosts.
I just want to say, fucking solid kill.
Solid kill, though. Yeah, solid kill.
Solid kill.
Because we get a hammer, like some hammer attacks, and then Juggernaut does his classic back break.
Breaks his back like a fucking toothpick. Just bam.
Oh no, he does the glow stick again.
Yeah.
After that, the ghost, the Hammer, and the Juggernaut leave Arthur because Arthur's trapped behind a pane of the glass, and then Jean's ghost visits him. Meanwhile, Kalina and Cyrus, who's alive, are playing some kind of Latin chant throughout the building, and they're going to call all the ghosts to the center, and before they decide to go upstairs, Cyrus crushes Lena between two walls of the house like a fucking ass, because he will share his power with no one!
Bro, Cyrus is a fucking savage.
It was such a wild betrayal.
Arthur... It really was a wild betrayal, but also, come on, that dude. Do you think he was gonna share his power with anyone, or like?
Bro, he heel turned the only other person that heel turned in that movie.
And now we get to the end. Arthur gets upstairs. He sees Cyrus's ghost. Realizes Cyrus is still alive. Sees his kids surrounded by weird, crazy, circular, sharp metal and crazy fucking ghosts with Latin chanting.
Yeah,
and
they're all holding
hands. Maggie has awoken from her getting clocked and starts DJ heroing the Latin recording. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, she just going crazy on them turntables. And the ghosts break out of their trance and kill Cyrus. Arthur saves his kids, and the ghosts end up walking free.
He does a game of
a peaceful looking Jane.
Notes.
Wait, we'll get to your end. We'll get to yours in a second.
Get to my stuff that you've already passed?
You can cut it up!
It's not,
Like
like,
a
relevant or funny to bring up after the fact, though.
No, but I'm saying you can cut it up. Like, and stick your stuff in between. A super peaceful-looking Jean lingers nearby and says goodbye to her family and then departs with the other ghosts. The film ends with Maggie the babysitter walking through the wreckage of the home, yelling that she did not agree to this when she came to work for them, and she will be quitting.
No. She's getting a raise or she's quitting.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is any more additions to like what I said about the end? Is like, are there details I missed? Because I'm just trying to get a.
I'm so lost. None of that made sense to me.
The actual plot description and your notes do not match. Can't confirm we watched the same movie.
I cannot confirm.
Even though I streamed it to you.
Listen, I all I can say is that the notes got a lot more sparse in the second half of the movie. Because it went from Shraggy stole the wife ghost to the 13th ghost to the torso's name was Jimmy Gambino to Cyrus getting chopped up like a helicopter blade inside of the spinny thing. And then not mentioning afterwards when the dad doing a gamer jump to save his kids.
Oh yeah, it was a big gamer jump. Like he played Frogger to the extreme in real life.
Moment.
Which doesn't make any sense, because right after
parkour.
Which right after he did the jump, everything broke, and then it was just safe. I don't know why he did the jump before everything broke. I don't understand.
Yeah, there was really no point to the gamer jump, but he did it. So there's that.
Yeah.
It happened.
I mean, he did it, so we were there, and it happened, and I mean, everyone seemed to be proud of him, so I guess we can be happy about that. Yeah, this movie was a fucking trip. I didn't expect some, like, Avengers-ass deep lore for 12 different separate villain characters. Like, that's...
I used the 13ghost.fandom.com for most of our summarizations and just general knowledge as we went along, because fandom.com is a great place to get all that info for movies and anime and video games and all kinds of stuff like that. We're not sponsored. That's just where I got the info.
Just plug out the homies, you know?
No, but do I use them on a weekly basis? Absolutely, I do. I trust them more than Wikipedia. Not a daily basis, but a weekly basis for sure.
Probably because of the very specific jobs of the enlisting
that, and I play a lot of games where I'm just like, I want to know more about the lore, and I love backstories. And it's like the weird ghost zodiac, the Black Zodiac is what it's called in this movie, is so just intriguing to me because each one of them had a backstory. They were all made with practical effects, which is incredible, and I highly recommend you seek out any behind-the-scenes videos you can find from this movie, because they do show some talks with the makeup artists, and then putting the fat guy in his gigantic fat suit, as well as how they did the suit for the angry princess, because I'm pretty sure those boobs are 100% fake.
I mean, considering that one of the nipples is completely cut in half, I would assume so.
Well, yeah, but you can do that with fake nipples on both tits. But anyways, it's just I'm impressed. I'm a person that loves special effects makeup.
Practical effects are where it's at.
I'm always practical effects over CG and computer generated.
You guys know Cabin in the Woods, right?
Yes, I do.
90% to 95% of the effects in that movie are practical.
How?
How? With a big fucking budget.
That's true. They did have a big budget.
It's funny because practical effects are usually only used in low budget or high budget.
There's no in between. But yeah, practical effects are god, and if you're making a horror movie, always go practical effects.
Where you can.
If you can't, I understand.
If it doesn't logistically make any sense whatsoever, go with the CGI, but try to minimize that as much as you can because
Like, if all of a sudden you're in
honestly,
space, I get it. You're gonna need some CG.
yeah. You know what? Kubrick did a pretty good job with the moon landing.
Okay, I'll go.
God damn it.
Can we end it there? Because I like that.
Yeah, that's fine.